Hi everyone, I'm going to be telling you about camp. Year 7 camp, and why it sucked. Okay, for this camp we had to prepare, we had to bring our own camp stuff, and we had to bring our own tents. And we were only there for 3 days. So, when I got the stuff, Jenna, there's kids watching. Shut up, Jim. Oh! So anyways, when I got my stuff, my mom took me to the school and she dropped me off, and as soon as she left, my life just became a living hell. There's this guy named Bob, and he keeps on touching me and my stuff. The most annoying thing Bob does is that after when he touches me constantly, he says in a retarded voice, sorry. Then we had to put our stuff in a bus, and then we had to go in another bus to travel. It was about 2 hours, and I pretty much slept through it. Then, when we were just entering, the bus driver told us that the last time that a bus driver went through this path, he ditched the class because he was so scared. Okay, congratulations, bus driver. You just scared the crap out of me. Then, the bus scratched. Perfect timing, Jesus. So after 30 minutes, we finally got to the camp. Finally. Then we got our tents. Then I was doing my tent, and then I realized I look around and everybody was just looking at me and my tent. And then I realized that these kids had probably the cheapest and the worst tents in the entire world. Then I look over my shoulder, and I see Max. He's my classmate. Then I see him struggling with his tent. It kept on popping up, and it was a pretty small tent. And then I'm thinking, fine. So I let him stay at my tent. What the crap, Bob? You're even more annoying than my sister. Well, Max was happy, and he was ecstatic, and everybody was just so jealous of me. Well, you should have thought of that before you got those crappy tents. Everybody, it's lunchtime. Yes. Also, if your name is Jono, then you're not gonna have the things that you want. Wait, what? Oh crap, I forgot. My school's vegetarian. When I thought of vegetarian, I thought it was just gonna be vegetables on a plate. But the food, that was the best thing at camp. But we're not talking about the good things, we're talking about the crappy things. After when we ate, we had to go canoeing. And we had to go ahead and pick a team. And my team was Pin and Philip. Philip was okay, but guess what was the bad thing? Pin. He was annoying and dumb. And guess who we got that from? It was Bob. It was a Bob. I know it sounds like I'm the jerk, but this is real life. So after canoeing, I got changed and took a shower with my shampoo. Nobody can stop me from relaxation. Oh my god. Get out! So I thought it would be nice to get sticks of marshmallows so that we can roast them by the fire. And when it was time, everybody just took a marshmallow and left me with nothing. Ended up holding back tears because I felt so alone. But my mom told me to stay strong. Then we have to get our journals out because we were journaling about our camp. But we had to get lights because it was dark. And Bob, being the jerk that he is, while I was reading, he was shining the light in my face. And I was shining my light back at him. I was about to start World War III. But then suddenly, a new kid, she's new, it's a she, let's call her F. And she's a jerk to me too. Even before camp, she told me that I was the devil and that you needed the Bible. Hey guys, remember the name Ray. Just trust me. So F told me to get away because I was bullying Bob. So since I was a gentleman and also I wanted F to F off, I scooched over my chair and then I just started writing down how bad my day was. Meanwhile, Bob was still shining the freaking light at me. Then I went to bed crying. But guess what? Bob just keeps on ruining my life. Bob was making noises at 1, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4:50, and 6. I woke up multiple times and I cried. Even the teacher had to get out of the fancy cabin and told Bob to shut up. And then I start crying and telling the teacher how sick I am of this and how bad my day was and why was it so bad. And also, I woke up with a sore back. Day 2. Great. Not only one day of hell and then I'm out of here. And my teachers try to get my spirits up, but I was just done with it. And finally I gave in and I gave the day a chance. Today we had to do activities and we went tight roping on top of this river. That was fun. And then we went zip lining to get back. That was also fun. But anyways, then we had to do abseiling off of this cliff. At first I was scared, but then I realized, nah, if these kids can do it, so can I. Then I went abseiling and it was fun. I recommend anybody on camping to do that. So after abseiling, I went back up to try it again. But sadly, there was another bad thing. And that thing was named Ray. I said the time out loud and she said, "No, Jono, you're wrong." And I said, "No, Ray, I'm right." And then out of nowhere, there's this guy named Kebab. And he said, "No, Ray's right." And then I secretly did the rude finger up at them behind a bush so they wouldn't see. And when we got down, there was this teacher named Miss Roach. And she had a cockroach on her hair. And I told her, "Don't move, don't move." And she was freaking out. And she was like, "What?" "There's a cockroach on your thing." And I slapped her hair. So after that, we had a break. And we went on the playground. There was a playground at camp. So while I was casually walking, F pulled me aside and told me, "Why did you bully Bob?" And she went on, and then she finally told me that Bob is autistic and that you shouldn't be Bob because he had that disability. Well, then I spoke up for myself, and then I said, "Well, I have that disability as well, and that's no excuse for how he's been treating me." Then we have to do 2 more activities, then we're done. We got picked into groups, and I was the only boy there, and everybody else was just girls. And guess what one of the girls were? Ray. I didn't even want to do the activity, and I just talked to Pastor Alex, and he told me that you got to do the last activity. And I did, and it turned out to be scary but fun. And I went up of this giant pole. It was 5 meters, and I told everybody that if you catch me from this height, then you're gonna get muscles. And then they catch me, and they didn't get any muscles, but I did have a good time, I guess. And then finally, the next day, then Miss told us to go up this giant hill so the bus can pick us up. And me being a gentleman, I carried Mrs. bag, which was a first aid kit. And then I just ran over the hill because I really wanted to go first to the bus. But then I see a kid up in the distance. He was hopping and popping and he couldn't breathe. And he was like, and then I immediately shouted, "He's asthmatic!" And then I ran over there, and then I grabbed the bag, take out the puffer, and then I gave the puffer to him. And everybody was just saying, "No, Jono, are you gonna kill him? No, Jono, you're gonna kill him. No." And then I'm like thinking, these guys are so dumb. And then Miss comes over just in time, and then she called in a rescue car. And then one of my classmates said he doesn't have any water, so I gave him my water to drink because he's thirsty. So then I finally got to the bus, and I finally went home, and I told Mom and Dad everything. But I learned a few things, that life doesn't get easier, you just get stronger. And that there's gonna be jerks in your life. But you know what? Let jerks be jerks. Let you be you. So anyways, that concludes the video. Please like and subscribe, and may God bless you. Bye.
And no more Bob.
Sorry. Ah!